Kellen listened in silence, her eyes wide with disbelief. She had always been told stories about the beauty of the galaxy, the kindness of other species. But this was different. It wasn't just a story, it was a warning. Elira's voice softened as she concluded, "Humans are not the peaceful, harmless beings we once thought them to be. They are the galaxy's greatest warriors, and they have earned the respect and fear of every race that has come into contact with them." Callan couldn't speak. Her mind raced with thoughts of this strange, violent race. Could it really be true? Were humans really that dangerous? Were they, in fact, the monsters her mother described? She wanted to ask more, but before she could speak, Elira's voice cut through her thoughts. "There is one thing you must always remember, Callan." Elira's tone turned serious, almost grim. "Humans may be many things, but above all, they are survivors. Never forget that. They will fight until the very end. And once they're cornered, once they feel their survival is at stake, they will become something you cannot imagine." Callan swallowed hard. "Are humans really that dangerous?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. Elira's gaze softened for a moment. And then, as if recalling something long buried, she answered, "More than you can ever imagine." Callan lay in bed, staring up at the ceiling, her thoughts swirling. The world around her seemed to grow colder, darker. The peaceful nursery no longer felt so safe. Outside, the stars twinkled faintly, almost as if watching her, waiting. The idea of humans, real, powerful, and terrifying, lingered in her mind like a shadow. The screen above Earth flickered, showing the views of distant alien ships cloaked in the vast expanse of space. A silent alarm blared across the galaxy, reaching the ears of the Galactic Council. Their emissaries had been dispatched to learn more about this dangerous species, the humans. The Council, aware of the growing influence of Earth, knew the time had come to learn more. The story that Callan's mother had told wasn't just a story. It was a prelude to something far greater. Humans were no longer just a bedtime legend. They were real, and they were coming. Far above Earth, the alien forces prepared to descend. As the galactic emissaries descended through the black expanse of space toward Earth, their cloaked ship was a silent predator in the void. The emissaries, alien officers from the Galactic Council, had one mission: to observe, analyze, and learn about the mysterious humans that had become the subject of growing concern across the galaxy. Unbeknownst to them, the human race had long prepared for threats from the stars. The alien ship, sleek and silent, drifted ever closer to the blue planet. The emissaries aboard had no idea they were being watched. They were confident in their technology, certain that their advanced cloaking systems would shield them from detection by any lesser species, especially humans, whom they considered primitive. The idea that Earth could detect their ship seemed absurd to them. The emissaries' superior technology allowed them to move undetected, but their overconfidence would be their undoing. But back on Earth, things were far from simple. Humanity's defense systems were designed to be ever vigilant, constantly scanning the skies for any sign of alien intrusion. These systems were far more advanced than the aliens could have imagined. AI-powered detection networks scanned the skies, analyzing every movement, every anomaly. Humans had been prepared for an event like this for years. Captain Marcus Reed was one of the many who oversaw the world's defense programs. A seasoned officer with years of combat experience, he had been involved in countless operations, but this was unlike anything he had faced before. As the first signs of the alien ship's presence flickered on the screen, he knew that humanity was facing a new kind of enemy, one that had come from beyond the stars. "We've got them, Captain. Cloaked ship, coming in fast." The voice of Lieutenant Sarah Mitchell, a young and brilliant officer, crackled over the comms. Marcus' eyes narrowed. He had anticipated something like this, but never fully prepared for it. The aliens, though technologically advanced, had underestimated humanity's ability to adapt and innovate. Earth's defenses had been built not just for defense, but for retaliation. Marcus was quick to act. "Activate the cloaking disruptors now," he commanded. His voice was calm but firm. The team had trained for this moment for years. They would not fail. The room hummed with the sound of technology coming to life. The cloaking disruptors, designed to break through even the most sophisticated alien stealth systems, powered up. A high-pitched whine filled the air as the disruptors fired, sending waves of interference through space. The cloaked ship, once invisible to the human eye, now blinked back into view. A wave of tension swept over the control room. The aliens had been detected, but humanity was far from ready. The ship was still too close, and their technology was far less advanced than the aliens. But humans had something the aliens did not: determination. "Prepare for landing. Set the interception team in position," Marcus ordered. He turned to the team of special ops soldiers that had gathered at his command. They were well trained, but this mission would be unlike any other. Their target was an enemy they didn't fully understand. They had little information about the alien invaders, and their weapons were still being adapted for combat with an unknown species. But despite these challenges, Captain Reed and his team moved forward. They were the underdogs in this battle, with no guarantees of success. But there was something about humanity's spirit, their drive to protect their own, that made them formidable. The team wasn't prepared for an all-out war, but they were prepared to face whatever came their way. The alien emissaries, meanwhile, had no idea of the threat waiting for them. Their ship landed smoothly, the technology working perfectly. The soft hiss of the engines dying down signaled their arrival. With weapons in hand and scanners on alert, the emissaries began their descent to the surface. They were eager to learn more about Earth, about its inhabitants, and most importantly, about humans, the creatures they had been warned about. As the emissaries moved to the ground, they believed they had complete control. But as they began to explore the area, the Special Ops team, led by Captain Marcus Reed, made their move. Hidden in the shadows, they were silent, almost invisible in the night. The aliens, distracted by their task, didn't notice the humans until it was too late. With lightning speed, Marcus and his team moved in. The first alien emissary didn't even have time to react before he was down, his weapon disarmed and his body incapacitated by the humans' expertly executed strike. It was a shocking display of power and skill. The humans were not afraid. They were ready for this battle, and they fought with everything they had. The fight was swift, intense, and brutal. The aliens, though powerful, were caught off guard by the sheer tenacity of the human soldiers. The close-quarters combat was savage, each side vying for control. Energy blasts and plasma rifles filled the air as the humans used everything at their disposal to overpower the aliens. Marcus Reed was at the heart of the action, moving with a fluidity and precision that showed years of training. The alien emissaries, skilled in their own right, quickly realized they were not fighting against an inferior species. These humans were not the helpless creatures they had imagined. They were warriors in their own right, survivors who fought with a willpower the aliens had never encountered. As the battle raged on, Callan, now an older teenager, watched from the shadows. She had heard the stories from her mother, the tales of the fearsome humans who had conquered worlds. But now, seeing them with her own eyes, she realized the truth. Humans were no mere myth. They were real, and they fought with a passion that made them unlike any other species she had ever known. The sounds of battle raged on as Callan observed from a distance. The humans, though outnumbered, were holding their ground, pushing the alien forces back with relentless determination. She couldn't look away. Each blast, each strike, was a testament to the human spirit, to their unwillingness to back down, no matter the odds. As the fight continued, the Special Ops team began to make significant progress. One by one, the alien emissaries were taken down, their advanced weaponry useless against the human soldiers' resilience and resourcefulness. The battle was quickly turning in humanity's favor. Callan's heart pounded as she realized the enormity of what she was witnessing. The stories her mother had told her now seemed more real than ever before. Humans were not just legends. They were warriors. Their strength, their courage, their unbreakable will, it was all true. The battle finally reached its climax. Captain Marcus Reed, with his team by his side, launched a final decisive strike against the last of the alien emissaries. With a well-aimed shot, he disabled their cloaking system completely, leaving the aliens exposed. The humans closed in, quickly disarming the last few emissaries and bringing them to their knees. The victory was undeniable. The alien emissaries, once confident in their superiority, were now captured. Their mission failed. Humanity had shown them that no matter how advanced the enemy, humans would always find a way to survive. As the battle ended, Callan stood silently, her mind racing. She had been taught to fear humans, to see them as nothing more than a bedtime legend. But now she understood the truth. Humans were not just a terrifying bedtime story. They were a force to be reckoned with, a species that could not be underestimated. The story her mother had told her was not just a warning. It was a truth, and Callan would never forget it. As the battle subsided and the alien emissaries were taken away, Callan couldn't tear her eyes away from the humans. Her heart raced as she processed what she had just witnessed. The stories her mother had told her, stories of the terrifying humans who were no more than mythical monsters in the galaxy, were not only real. They were far more complex and powerful than she had ever imagined. She couldn't understand it fully yet, but one thing was clear. Humans were not the monsters she had been taught to fear. They were something else entirely. Survivors, warriors, protectors. Callan, driven by curiosity and a sense of awe, decided to follow the humans as they moved toward the captured alien ship. Her eyes followed them as they made their way through the wreckage of the battlefield, taking control of the alien technology that had once been their adversaries. She had to know more. She had to understand what made these humans so special, so deadly. Sneaking aboard the ship was not easy. The human soldiers were vigilant, ever on alert, but Callan was determined. She had to see it with her own eyes. Slipping quietly through the ship, she found herself in a darkened hallway, where human soldiers were speaking in hushed tones, discussing their next move. Captain Marcus Reed was there, his eyes sharp as he monitored the captured technology. He seemed to be constantly on edge, always prepared for the next fight. As Callan watched him, she realized that humans did not rely on cloaking devices or advanced technology to win their battles. There were no invisible shields or AI-enhanced weapons. Instead, humans used something far more unpredictable: their sheer willpower, their refusal to give up, no matter how impossible the odds seemed. The truth began to sink in as Callan observed them, as they planned their next move. Humanity didn't rely on high-tech gadgets or advanced weaponry. Instead, they fought with a kind of ferocity that seemed to come from deep within their souls. They were relentless, adaptable, and unpredictable, traits that made them a force to be reckoned with. This wasn't about technology. This was about human spirit. The next part of the journey was a heart-pounding chase through the stars. The alien mothership, now fully aware of the human threat, launched a full-scale counterattack. Its massive form loomed like a shadow over the battlefield, its weapons more advanced than anything humanity had ever faced. Yet Captain Reed and his team weren't intimidated. Instead, they took the fight directly to the aliens, utilizing their ship's superior agility, tactics, and most importantly, their human ingenuity. Callan watched in awe as Reed's ship, a sleek human vessel with minimal armor but maximum tactical prowess, engaged the enemy in a space dogfight. The alien mothership fired its advanced plasma beams, shaking the very foundations of the human ship. The ship rocked violently, alarms blaring, but Reed and his crew remained focused. They had no cloaking technology, no invisibility shields, no advanced AI guiding them. They had nothing but their skill, their quick thinking, and the raw power of human creativity. With the alien mothership closing in for a final blow, Reed did something no one expected. He made an impossible maneuver. With a skillful twist of the controls, he sent his ship spiraling through the debris field, avoiding direct hits and causing the aliens to miscalculate their attack. The human ship darted and weaved, its crew working in unison, anticipating the alien moves and countering them with tactics that had never been seen in any battle before. It was a gamble, a risky, high-stakes move, but it paid off. In a single, precise strike, Reed's ship fired its main weapon at the alien mothership's weak point, causing a massive explosion that ripped through its hull. The mothership, once thought invincible, was now nothing more than a cloud of debris in the cold void of space. The human ship, though severely damaged, emerged victorious. Kalen watched in disbelief as the alien invaders, the ones who had believed humanity to be weak, primitive, and no match for their superior technology, were now in retreat. They had underestimated humanity's savage nature, its unpredictability, and its unwavering determination. The aliens had come to Earth thinking they could easily crush a primitive species, but instead they had encountered something entirely different, a species capable of fighting back with everything they had. As the battle raged on, the emotional weight of the moment began to sink in. Bonner, one of the human soldiers, was severely wounded during the fight. He had been with the team from the beginning, and everyone knew he was one of the most dedicated soldiers on the battlefield. As Bonner fell, his comrades rushed to his side, but they knew it was too late. He had given everything for the team, for humanity. In his final moments, Bonner smiled weakly and whispered, "We did it, Captain. We fought together." His death was a painful blow, not just to his fellow soldiers, but to Kalen as well. She had witnessed his sacrifice firsthand, and for the first time, she understood what it meant to fight not for glory or power, but for the people you loved. Humanity's strength was not just in their weapons or their tactics, it was in their willingness to sacrifice everything for each other. Bonner's sacrifice wasn't just an act of courage, it was a testament to the deep loyalty and brotherhood that humanity shared. Kalen, now a witness to the full force of humanity's strength, couldn't believe what she had seen. The humans were not the mindless monsters she had been taught to fear. They were something far greater. They were the ones who would protect their world at all costs, who would fight for what they believed in, no matter the odds. Their resilience, their sacrifice, and their unbreakable will were the true weapons of their power. As the alien mothership burned in space, Kalen realized that she had seen a side of humanity that no one had ever told her about. They were not the villains of bedtime stories. They were the heroes, fierce, loyal, and unstoppable. The fear she once felt for humans was gone, replaced by a profound respect for their ability to survive, to fight, and to protect what mattered most. Kalen would never forget what she had witnessed, the way humanity fought not just for survival, but for each other. And in that moment, she understood that humans were not just a scary bedtime story. They were the protectors of their world, and they would never back down from a fight. The Galactic Council, furious over the loss of their advanced mothership and their underestimation of humanity, decided to escalate the situation. In a show of overwhelming power, they launched an all-out offensive, sending their vast fleets to invade Earth. This was no longer a covert operation. It was a full-scale invasion, designed to crush humanity once and for all. With their superior technology, the Council believed they would easily decimate the human defenses, but they had gravely miscalculated. Human forces, though technologically outclassed, were not the same as the other races the Galactic Council had obliterated. They weren't interested in grand displays of power, cloaking devices, or artificial intelligence. They didn't need them. Humanity's true strength lay in its resilience, its resourcefulness, and its ability to adapt. Captain Marcus Reeve and his team, along with other soldiers across the world, quickly mobilized to resist the overwhelming alien assault. They relied on guerrilla tactics, using their knowledge of Earth's terrain, and the power of their will to survive to wage a deadly game of cat and mouse against the invaders. As the battle intensified, the alien forces launched orbital bombardments from their fleets in space, unleashing destructive blasts that rocked Earth's surface. Cities were torn apart, and the skies were filled with fire and smoke. Yet the humans did not falter. They retreated into underground bunkers and hidden outposts, using their environment to their advantage. They fought in darkened tunnels, abandoned cities and forests, outsmarting the aliens at every turn. Marcus Reed's team was at the heart of the human resistance, constantly striking the enemy where they least expected it. They were outnumbered and outgunned, but their tactics and sheer determination made them a force to be reckoned with. The close-quarters combat that followed was brutal. Humans fought with knives, guns, and whatever they could find to defend themselves. The aliens, equipped with advanced energy weapons, were ruthless in their attack, but the humans fought with a passion and tenacity that seemed to defy all logic. Marcus Reed and his team were on the front lines, leading their fellow soldiers through relentless firefights. They faced enemies that seemed invincible, but they never gave up. Every life lost made them more determined to fight on, and every victory, no matter how small, gave them the hope they needed to keep going. Amid the chaos, Callan, who had secretly been following the battle from the shadows, watched in awe as humanity's courage and determination unfolded before her. The destruction was horrifying, but what she saw in the humans was even more terrifying. Their refusal to give up, their unyielding will to survive, was something her species had never encountered before. Callan realized that humans were not only fighting for their lives, they were fighting for their future, their world, and everything they held dear. And in that fight, they would stop at nothing to protect what was theirs. As the battle raged on, Callan began to see the full picture. She had always been taught that humans were weak, primitive, and easily defeated. But now, as she witnessed their struggle, their sacrifice, and their strength, she realized just how wrong her species had been. The Galactic Council had underestimated humanity, just as her own people had. And now, it seemed, they were paying the price. Callan was forced to confront a painful truth. Her species might be next to face the wrath of humanity. The humans had shown that they were not only capable of surviving an invasion, they were capable of counterattacking with a ferocity that could shake the very foundations of the galaxy. If humanity was this strong, what would happen if they turned their attention to other alien races, such as Callan's own people? What would happen if humanity decided to make them their next target? The fear that had been building in Callan's heart now seemed real. Her species had always seen humans as a joke, as a weak, insignificant race on a small, forgotten planet. But humanity's response to the invasion was a brutal reminder that humans were not to be underestimated. As the battle continued to unfold, Callan knew that her people's days of complacency might soon be over. Despite the overwhelming odds, humanity was not finished. As the alien forces pressed forward, humans unleashed their counterattack. A swarm of drones, some of them cloaked and others armed with advanced electronic warfare capabilities, spread out across the battlefield. These drones were able to disrupt the alien communication systems, causing chaos among the invaders. They scrambled, trying to figure out where the drones were coming from, but they couldn't track them. The humans had turned the aliens' own technology against them, catching them off guard. At the same time, cloaked satellites, undetected by the alien forces, began to rain down devastating laser beams on the invaders' command ships. These were precision strikes meant to take out the alien leaders and disrupt their operations from above. The humans' use of advanced technology, coupled with their guerrilla warfare tactics, was a stroke of genius that the aliens had not anticipated. The intensity of the battle reached new heights as humanity used its creativity and willpower to push back against the technologically superior invaders. It was clear now that this war wasn't just about technology. It was about the spirit of humanity. Every human soldier, every civilian who joined the fight, brought with them an unbreakable resolve that the alien forces simply could not comprehend. As Callan watched, she couldn't help but feel a growing sense of dread. Her species had long seen themselves as the superior race, the rulers of the galaxy. But humanity's actions were a clear indication that strength wasn't just about technology or weapons. Strength came from within. The heart, the soul, and the will to protect those you loved. This was something Callan's species had never understood. Humans fought not just for themselves, but for each other. They fought for their families, their communities, and their world. This was why they could never be defeated. As the battle wore on, humanity's victory seemed more and more inevitable. Despite the overwhelming alien strength, the humans continued to fight back with a combination of technology, strategy, and sheer willpower that was impossible to match. Their victory was a powerful message to the galaxy. Humanity was no longer to be underestimated. Callan was left to ponder the implications of what she had witnessed. Her world, and the worlds of countless others, might soon have to contend with humanity's wrath. The Galactic Council had already been humiliated, and humanity had shown that they would fight until the very end to protect their world. As Callan thought about her own people, she realized that the time for underestimating humanity was over. Humanity was a force of nature, and if the galaxy didn't recognize that now, it would soon learn the hard way. In the end, this battle for survival was more than just a fight for Earth. It was a statement, a warning to all those who had seen humanity as weak, primitive, and inconsequential. The humans had proven that they were not just survivors. They were warriors, and they would stop at nothing to protect their world and their future. Callan's world, and all those like it, would have to decide whether to continue underestimating humanity or to accept them as a force to be reckoned with. Callan stood at the heart of the alien command ship, her mind racing with everything she had witnessed. The battle raged on outside, but inside, she was faced with a difficult decision. As a member of the Galactic Council, she had been raised with one fundamental belief, that her species was the most advanced, the most powerful in the galaxy. She had always seen humans as weak, primitive, and beneath notice. But now, as she stood amid the wreckage of their forces, that belief was shattering. The humans were fighting back, and they were doing it with a determination and ferocity that seemed to defy logic. For the first time, Callan truly understood why humans fought. She had always assumed that the Galactic Council's superiority would crush them easily, but the humans weren't fighting to conquer or dominate. They weren't driven by a desire for power. Instead, they fought for something far more fundamental: freedom. They fought because they wanted to protect their homes, their families, and the very essence of their existence. This wasn't just a war. It was a struggle for survival, one that had been going on for eons. Earth, as Marcus Reed had explained to her earlier, was a death world. It was a planet where only the strongest survived. From the very beginning of their history, humans had been forced to fight just to live. As Callan pondered this, she felt a deep sense of realization. Her people, the Galactic Council, had underestimated humanity's strength for far too long. They had dismissed the humans as primitive creatures, easily crushed under the might of their advanced technology. But now, Callan saw the truth. Humanity's strength didn't come from advanced weapons or technology. It came from their will, their determination to survive, to protect what was theirs, and to never back down in the face of danger. As she stood there, Captain Marcus Reed approached her, his face grim but resolute. He had fought in the trenches alongside his men, and he had seen the devastation that the alien forces were capable of. Yet, he had never wavered. His eyes locked onto hers, and for a moment, there was an unspoken understanding between them. Marcus had fought for his people, not because they were the strongest, but because they had the will to defend what mattered. He had fought for freedom, not just for his own world, but for the future of humanity. Callan was torn. She had grown up believing in the superiority of her people, yet here was a human who had fought, bled, and sacrificed everything to protect his world. She felt a deep sense of respect for Marcus and his men, and in that moment, she knew what she had to do. With a heavy heart, Callan made a choice. She would no longer stand by and watch as the Galactic Council sought to crush humanity. She would help them. In doing so, she knew she would be betraying her own people, but she also knew that she could not ignore the truth. Humanity deserved a chance to survive. Callan led Marcus to a hidden chamber deep inside the alien ship, where a powerful piece of alien technology was stored. It was a tactical advantage that the Galactic Council had used to maintain control over their vast empire. An advanced energy shield generator, capable of repelling even the most powerful attacks. If the humans could use it against the alien forces, it might just be the edge they needed to turn the tide of the war. Marcus, though skeptical, understood the gravity of the situation. The Galactic Council's motherships were still a formidable threat, but with this technology in hand, the humans could strike back with greater force. As Callan activated the device, Marcus couldn't help but marvel at the technology. It was unlike anything humanity had ever seen, but he didn't have time to dwell on it. The battle was far from over, and if they were to win, they would need to act fast. With the energy shield now in their possession, the humans began to implement a tactical shift. They activated their own AI-powered stealth technology, a key part of their strategy to outmaneuver the alien forces. This technology allowed them to cloak their ships and infiltrate the alien defenses undetected. The plan was simple: get close to the alien motherships, disable their shields, and launch a devastating strike that would cripple their ability to fight back. The space battle that ensued was like nothing Callan had ever seen. The skies above Earth were lit up with explosions as ships, both human and alien, clashed in a brutal display of firepower. The humans' stealth ships zipped through the battle, dodging incoming fire as they approached the alien motherships. Their advanced AI systems allowed them to predict the aliens' movements and stay one step ahead, making the human ships nearly impossible to hit. As they closed in on the motherships, the humans unleashed a barrage of missiles, each one carefully calculated to disable the alien shields and inflict maximum damage. The alien forces, despite their superior technology, were caught off guard. They had never encountered such a sophisticated and unexpected attack. The humans were no longer the underdogs. They were becoming the vanguard of their own survival. The devastation in space was unimaginable. Motherships exploded in massive fiery bursts, their hulls torn apart by the precision strikes of the human forces. Ships collided in midair, spinning out of control as the human fleet pressed forward. The once imposing alien invaders were now struggling to hold their ground. Their highly advanced technology seemed helpless against the unpredictable, relentless nature of humanity's tactics. Callan watched in horror as the battle unfolded. She had never seen anything like this. The humans' fight was not just about technology or strategy. It was about their spirit, their resolve, and their refusal to back down. Even as the alien forces suffered massive losses, the humans showed no signs of stopping. They pushed forward, pressing the attack with a fury that seemed unstoppable. At the heart of the battle, Captain Marcus Reed was leading his men with unwavering determination. His ship was taking heavy fire, but he didn't hesitate. Every command he gave, every decision he made, was focused on one goal: the destruction of the alien motherships. His men followed his lead, never faltering, even in the face of overwhelming odds. The humans were not just fighting for survival, they were fighting for their freedom, and they would not let anyone take it from them. As the final battle raged on, Callan made one last observation. The humans were not just fighting to win. They were fighting for something greater. They were fighting for their future, for the freedom of their world, and for the right to determine their own destiny. In that moment, Callan realized that humanity was not the weak, primitive species she had once believed them to be. They were the true warriors, and no matter what happened next, the galaxy would never forget the power of humanity's fight for survival. The battle was far from over, but for the first time, Callan felt that humanity might just win this war. She stood alongside Marcus, ready to see this fight through to the end. And as the final space battle raged around them, She couldn't help but feel a new sense of respect for the humans, the warriors who had shown her what it truly meant to fight for freedom. The battle was over, but the cost had been staggering. The humans, against all odds, had managed to drive back the alien invaders, their fleets shattered, their forces in disarray. Earth had survived, but the price of victory had been steep. The streets were filled with the mournful cries of those who had lost their loved ones, and the once thriving human cities now lay in ruin, scared by the violence that had taken place. The memory of the war would linger in the hearts and minds of every survivor, a constant reminder of the brutality they had endured to protect their world. Among the survivors was Captain Marcus Reed, standing amidst the rubble of his fallen comrades. His face was grim, his eyes heavy with the weight of the lives lost. He had led his men through hell and back, and although they had triumphed, it had come at the expense of those who had given everything to defend Earth. The price of victory was a reality he would never forget. Beside him stood Kalin, the once doubtful alien now a witness to the true strength of humanity. She had seen the battle firsthand, felt the crushing power of the human spirit, and understood the sacrifices that had been made. The arrogance that had once clouded her mind had been replaced by a deep respect for the humans who had defied the odds and stood victorious. As she looked at Marcus, she knew that the world had changed. The war had not only reshaped the future of Earth, but had altered the course of her own people's understanding of humanity. The Galactic Council, once a mighty force that had believed itself invincible, was now in ruins. The loss of their fleet and the failure to conquer Earth had shaken their foundations to the core. What had once seemed like an unstoppable empire now lay in disarray. The humans had won not just through their technology or tactics, but through their unwavering will to survive and protect their home. This was a lesson the Galactic Council would never forget, and one that Kalin herself would carry with her for the rest of her life. As the smoke of the final battle cleared, Kalin returned to her home world, a place she had once seen as a beacon of superiority. The journey back was quiet, but within her mind, a storm of thoughts raged. Her people had always told stories of the humans, stories that painted them as weak, insignificant creatures. She had once believed these tales, trusting in the wisdom of the Galactic Council and their knowledge of the galaxy's most powerful species. But now, Kalin knew better. The humans were not the monsters they had been made out to be. They were the universe's true survivors, fiercely protecting their home and those they loved. And in the end, they had defeated the most powerful empire in the galaxy because they had something that no one else had: a deep, unshakable connection to their world and their freedom. It wasn't just about technology or firepower, it was about the heart of humanity. As Kalin arrived on her home planet, she found herself in a place of quiet reflection. The alien world that once seemed so certain in its dominance now seemed fragile in comparison to the resolve of the humans. Her mission had been to conquer Earth, to break its spirit and enslave its people. But in the end, it was Kalin who had learned the most important lesson of all: never underestimate humanity. She made her way to the school where young alien children were being taught the history of the galaxy. It was here that Kalin had once been taught the same stories, stories that spoke of the humans' weakness, of their inability to fight against the might of the Galactic Council. But now, with the truth in her heart, Kalin knew that it was time to change the narrative. As she stood before the children, the weight of the moment fell upon her. She had to rewrite history, to tell them the truth that had been hidden for so long. The humans were not the soft, vulnerable creatures they had been taught to fear. They were something far more formidable. They were fierce protectors of their home, driven by an unyielding will to survive. The stories you've been told about humans, Kalin began, her voice calm but firm, are not the truth. They are not weak. They are not to be underestimated. Humans are the universe's true survivors, and if you cross them, you will learn what it means to feel fear. Her words echoed in the quiet room, the alien children listening intently as they absorbed the message that had been delivered to them with such conviction. For Kalin, this was a turning point, a moment where she had to choose between loyalty to her own people and the truth that had become clear to her. The decision to speak out was not an easy one, but she knew it was the right one. Humanity had earned her respect, and she was now committed to ensuring that her people would never forget the lesson they had learned at such a great cost. The final moments of the story showed Callan standing on the edge of her home planet, looking up at the sky. Earth, though far away, felt closer than ever. In the distance, she could see the faint glow of human victory, the light of their ships still visible in the darkness of space. It was a reminder of what had happened, of the underdogs who had risen to become the most formidable force in the galaxy. The humans had proven themselves, not just as survivors, but as a force to be reckoned with. Callan's thoughts turned back to the battle. The human victory had been a triumph of spirit and strength, not of technology or overwhelming firepower. Humanity had faced impossible odds and had come out on top, and they had done it because they believed in their right to exist, to protect their home, and to fight for the future of their world. They had fought not for glory, but for survival, and in doing so, they had proven that even the smallest and most vulnerable species could become the most powerful. As Callan looked up at the sky, she felt a deep sense of respect for the humans. They had taught her more about the nature of strength and survival than she could have ever learned from her own people. And as she turned to leave, she made a vow to herself. The next time the humans were underestimated, she would be there to remind everyone of the lesson they had taught the galaxy. Humanity was not to be feared, but to be respected. The story ended on a note of hope, a hope that the humans, having proven their strength and resilience, would continue to thrive, not just as survivors, but as the galaxy's most fearsome ally, but also as a reminder to the Galactic Council and all who dared to cross them. If you anger humanity, you will know fear. The message was clear. Humanity was no longer the underdog. They were a force to be reckoned with, and the galaxy would never forget the lesson they had taught. The universe was watching, and now, humanity had earned its place among the stars.